Nick, can you go on YouTube and see if like this is actually playing? Because that would be cool. So I'm not just talking to myself. But I got about 20 minutes till my next meeting. And I've been meaning to do more live streams. I've been meaning to do some videos with this Racks for Live sound kits that I've got recently. And man, they're awesome. From the guys who brought you MSX Audio, MSX2 Audio. These are some of my favorite sound designers. Well, a little history about sound design for me, and actually like drum sounds and sounds that have been sold. You know, when I started, I didn't have all of that. I didn't really use those things. The way I made tracks was every single time I sat down at my MPC or whatever I was sitting down at, I would start from scratch. I'd hear probably a record or something where a drum sound was isolated. I'd grab it. I'd make do with it. So that was the extent of my sound design back then. And it always worked because it was always like bespoke for the track that I was making. It worked out perfectly. So it took me a while to transition into the time of now where there's just incredible sound designers selling these kits and sound packs. I wasn't really convinced for a while until I came across some MSX Audio sounds. And man, it was that stuff that really convinced me, that okay, this is worth buying, this is worth getting, this is worth using, because of the fact that this isn't just run-of-the-mill sounds. These are actually things that when I hear a kick, it makes me want to make a beat. When I hear a single one-shot sound from one of these kits, it got so much character, and it's so well done, both in taste and sonically manipulated to be like nice and crisp and punchy and sounds like a record already, that it makes me want to make something right off the bat. So I was really psyched when I heard, the other thing about that, I said A, and the B, the other thing is that I started to think, wow, this is so inspiring, not for me to make tracks, but this actually makes me want to get more into the sound design game, you know, and actually sell some of the sounds and use some of my sound design skills that I've been developing for so many years. I just love everything about the way they do their thing. Daniel Steele's over there, Simp. These guys, like, I've really only talked to Simp before, but I get the feeling from all the involved parties that they're just awesome people. I really love the way they do their business, and you know, that's product aside. Product is fantastic. That's what hooked me in the first place. But when it's all said and done, every dealing I've had with Simp has been incredible. Every dealing I've had with MSX Audio and every dealing I've had with Racks for Live has been awesome. So, again, 20 minutes on the clock. So I'm going to probably be doing more of these, and I have a bunch of Racks for Live sounds that I want to explore. And, you know, I thought about like actually sitting down and making a track and then making a video where I'm building that track from scratch, or, you know, like it's a pre-made track, and then like I go back through and, like film myself making it, like a really like produced video. But the thing about me is I really like doing stuff in the moment. I like process. I like people seeing the process. I don't just like to do this. You know, it's cool to make pre-produced videos and like have a beat that you think's a banger and then make a video around that. But I'll be honest, not every beat I make is something that I would bump like that. Some of it is me exploring with it, and I think that has merit too. Not every track that I make is something that I'd feel really confident showing someone and being like, yo, this is going to knock your head off. Some tracks for me, I'm making something just to explore a sonic direction or a creative pathway, or even just to learn something or to express something I'm feeling. And that doesn't necessarily mean that those tracks are going to sound like bangers, you know? I like to explore and see where it takes me. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Some of this could be a banger. This could just be an interesting thing. It could be nothing. I could make like 5 little sonic ideas. But again, here we are, 4 o'clock, and I have a meeting at 4:20. And no, it's not to smoke. I don't do that. It is it just so happened that my 4 o'clock had to push back 20 minutes. I promise you. Who am I explaining to? Who cares, really? So I'm looking at my drum rack sessions here, and these here, like, if you look at my cursor, make it real big right there. I got ASR rack through Triton rack. Now all of these are little 16 pad drum racks that each have their own session and have their own 8 macro knob effect rack, much like you would see on, say, Machina. You know, you got 8 knobs that enhance the sound or add certain effects like crunchiness and tape compression and things like that to the kit. I like this trend. I see a lot of different companies doing this. I see, you know, like Isotonic Studios doing this, where when you get a drum rack or some sounds, you don't just get the sounds, but you also get some effects that complement the sounds too. So I'm really just going to pick at random one of these, and I'm going into the browser over here and going to, oh, they also have some audio loop patterns, and that's a good way to let me adjust that. Adjust it. Adjust it. Still real heavy, huh? That's fine. I just want to make sure this stuff isn't distorting on your end. I'm going to work out all the kinks to this live streaming. That works. That works. So that reminded me also, these guys are, you can tell they're really good music producers and beat makers, because all the stuff that they make with their stuff is like, well, that's exactly the most ideal thing you could do with those sounds. It's almost intimidating a little bit. You hear it and you're like, well, I'm not going to make something better than that. But it just goes to show that these guys know their craft. They're not just tweaking sounds. They tweak sounds because that's what they do anyway when they're making beats. And I just love that they offer up their part of the process, which is sound design and making sounds, to everybody else and make it available. These are stuff that are just dripping with like character that allow you to go in. All right, 18 minutes. Let's see. By the way, when I do these, I'm going to talk a lot. Get used to it, because there's a lot of stuff I want to share that's going on in my head. I'm kind of treating these things like a journal entry as well as a beat making session. So I might make it beat journaling, call it whatever. Maybe I'll do it every day, and these will be my, you know, public beat journals. PB and J. So what I do is I just jam with something till something with the sounds until something strikes me. And I don't even record anymore. Ever since Ableton Live 10, I use the feature called Capture. So I'll play something, and then after the fact, I'll hit on my push, I'll hold record and then hit new, and then it'll figure out the tempo of what I was just playing, make a loop out of it, and say, cool, we think this is what you like from what you just played. And it's killer. It really works well for me. So that's something really simple. I'm going to pull up another. Here's a clap track rack. I'm going to pull up another one of these kits really quick. When I make drum tracks first, I usually like to do something that has a lot of space. On stage, I'm going crazy and I'm doing like ridiculous amounts of drum fills, and I'd probably never do that in the studio because on stage I'm just trying to have fun. But in the studio, I like to create something that has space to it. Makes me think about all the other things that I'll fill in that space. So again, capture. Yeah, I like that. So some of the other stuff I got from Racks for Live, they have wavetable presets, which are fun. And I'm going to go ahead and double click on one of these, which actually I don't want to do. I don't want to double click on that because that's going to replace my drum rack there. So I'm going to make another MIDI track and double click one of these guys. This one's called Cold Slice Effects. Let's hear it. Well, there you go. And again, these macros are affecting a bunch of different stuff. Look at that. Not your run-of-the-mill stuff, which is great. You want weird... I mean, I want weird stuff. I want stuff that doesn't sound like any old preset. And on this... I do like that, but I also want to see what's up with some of this other stuff because that feels like something I might put in later. Character. Yeah. Too, and play around with some of these macro knobs. Sweep. Super dope. Makes me want to check out more of these. This one's called Pad Thai. Yeah, I do like that. Hold on. Move you over real quick. I gotta get my start time right. This is dope, right? Because this is a pad called Pad Thai, like the name anyway. And listen to this. That's not... The thing that's dope about that is it's moving me a lot more than a static pad would. There's movement to it. So when I hit this chord... It's got flavor to it. So normally that progression might not have moved me, but the fact that this sound is moving in itself and it's got flavor, it doesn't just sound like, you know, a waveform. It's got a lot of it's a living thing, right? So I like this a lot. I'm gonna rock with this. So I'm going to leave that a little off beat because it's a little off pitch too. It's got like a little warble to it. It's not exactly on. So I like that because it's just, when I hear it, it's making me feel like it's got a drunkenness to it. Now that I've used some of that stuff, I actually want to go to one of my all-time faves, Omnisphere. I'm going to bring that over here. And I think I'm going to mess with a bass line right quick because this is screaming for it. Let's just go to... Let's do a synth bass. I like to surprise myself and just happen upon the sound. So I use the shuffle button a lot when I'm doing the thing. So I know that some of my stuff is being... So I hit this shuffle button here. It's being hidden by some of these other windows. We'll get it right. All right. There we go. So real quick, I want to find the key of this, and I like to do that just by kind of playing chromatically up until I find the root of the minor scale. That bendy kind of pitch thing I gotta mute for a second because it's messing with me. yeah, now I want to mess with the lead on top of that. Something chicka chicka chicka. Soft and warm. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. Too much juice going on here. Gotta turn that down.